I was speaking on mute. Anyway, welcome everyone. This is Web and Apps meeting on June 15th. We have a lot of folks here. Um, is anyone having any announcements for this week?
Uh, yeah, Fedora's annual survey is on just like last week. So if you have not taken it yet, take some time to do it. URL is fedoraproject.limesurvey.com/2021.
Awesome. Okay, so I will go ahead and share my screen. So, hey Ashlyn. Okay, so hi John. So I shared my screen. Uh, so before we start any discussion, I actually wanted to talk about the things that are in progress. Does anyone have an update on those? Because they've been in progress since quite a while. So if we are waiting on external for them, like we should move them to the appropriate columns based on how things are going on.
Right. So when it comes to mode, Yan has been working on porting Python test cases to talks. He has also shared updates earlier this week, but I haven't had the opportunity to take a look at it. I also asked them to be shared in the group, which he has done. So they need to be taken a look into. Apart from that, Fedora website's repository has had a hell of a lot of updates, all thanks to Onuralp. He had replaced all occurrences for Freenode to Libera. He also had, there was this backdrop where the translation files were to be replaced and not HTML files, which was done as well. Apart from that, there was a task with converting the Python 2 code base to Python 3. These are all active pull requests, and the only thing which needs to be done with them is merging because I've taken a look at them and they seem fine to me. I also wrote a Docker file for the build environment for the Fedora websites, which now has been ported from Fedora 30 to Fedora 34 and from Python 2 to Python 3. And apart from that, yeah, that's pretty much about it from my side.
So looks like it's like a long process. So they are still in process, right?
Yeah, like the ones for Fedora websites, the pull requests have been made and they have been reviewed as well. So the only thing that needs to be done over there is merging. The one for Fedora mode, the test cases are in progress. I have not gone back to the part where we were converting from Fedora messaging to or Fed messaging to Fedora messaging to Fed message. Or am I saying it the other way around? Never mind. Right. So there's still some time to spend on that.
Okay, so if we are waiting on external for them, or if that's like later on, maybe we should move it. Like if there are other things for us to focus on, or if there's something going on. So would any of that, like, are all of them in progress, or would any of them go to any other column?
So setting up of CI pipeline for Python is in progress. That is number 14 on the Kanban board, so you can move it over there. Apart from that, we don't seem to have a card for the Fed message port. I believe Sign was taking a look into it for badges. Uh, so
Akash, so the ones that are in progress column now,
mhm.
so they stay there? Are they in progress right now, or do we like have to move them to appropriate column?
um,
Like if they are waiting on external, or if they are like to do soon, to do
no,
maybe
these are
next
all in
week.
progress. These are all in
Okay.
progress. Yeah.
Okay. Did everyone get a chance to go through the fun activity, the escape thing, I believe? What is it called? Let me open that. So, the escape adulthood virtual experience seems like a fun thing.
It sounds good. I wish I had taken a look into it. Give me a sec.
Yeah, since you asked if everyone has gone through it, no, I have not. It's just been busy. But yeah, I might take some time to do it when I'm free. Thanks a lot for reminding, though.
All right. So, the other thing is the so I think even the hackathon also comes under fun act like team building activities. So I just put that under the epic that belongs to team building activity. So Ashley, do you have did folks given their time? Can you give an update on that?
Yeah, so far, Ramya, you and I have voted,
Your
but
voice is really low, Ashlyn.
oh, is it? Is that better?
Much
Yep,
Yep.
better, yeah.
very much.
Much better? Cool. Yeah, so as of now, Rami and I have voted, but no one else has voted. So if you could go into the doodle poll and vote, that would be good because we could get some dates together. But yeah, that's like not a stress thing.
Okay,
Where's the link for that? I missed that.
I have it in the Tiger card over here. So I added the Doodle poll link here. So if
Thank
folks
you.
can add their times async, that would be great. So we can get that done later. Uh, okay, so I know Akash has added a bunch of stuff in the HackMD. Do you want to talk about that, Akash?
Sure thing. Yeah. So,
Do you want to share your screen so everyone can see?
I'd rather not. I'm on Windows, but I can talk about them. And these are recurring tickets which have been opened up in Fedora websites. So that should be good. There's just
Okay,
a couple of tickets, right? So,
sure.
right. So over the course of past week, I and Anurag have been collaborating on converting Freenode to Libel. The only thing that has been a bit of a blocker for us was the fact that they were not merged, even though the review has been quite quick. So one of the things that Jan mentioned as the objective goals earlier when we were just in the foundational phase was the fact that whenever things are done, whenever tickets are created, they should be triaged, and whenever pull requests are made, they should be merged or maybe evaluated upon and then reverted back to quickly. So this might take some looking into, but I'm looking into the fact that we might want to get some commit access for these repositories that fall under our responsibility. So that would be one step forward so that it won't be dependent upon a certain number of people that, yeah, you'll have to wait for these people to be available before they would be able to, merge some stuff. But also the Python 2 to Python 3 conversion had been well an easy stuff to start with, but there were some encoding things to deal with because the default nature of how Python 2 deals with the data types was kind of a blocker to start with, but it has been dealt with since. All thanks to Nurad. And I created a PR with Docker file that was no brainer. I literally had to spin up a container and see if the packages which were in the Docker file are they prevalent or not. So yeah, that's that.
Awesome. So for the commit access to the repository, do we need to like get in touch with someone to check that?
Yeah, most likely. So the folks who we would want to get in touch with would be most likely Rick Elrod and Adam Samalik because these are the ones who have commit access currently to federal websites, I think. But an infra ticket would be a right place to do that. What do you think, Vipul?
Yep, infra ticket can help you with that if they are not around.
Sure thing. This can be an action item. I'll take that up.
Awesome. And yeah, if you can also make a card so everything is in Tiger board.
I would do that from this meeting onward. I swear.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
came in the last
Awesome.
moment. Yeah.
By the way,
No problem. Yeah. Thank you.
sorry for skipping the Taiga part and just did it immediately directly in the merge request. So in the future, I will also create a card as well for at least people can see what's going on. Sorry for that skipping part. I was just excited and I just wanna make it done quickly and it just done. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, that's okay. We are like it was last week that we transitioned everything like completely to Tiger board. So that's good. Don't worry about it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. By the way, one more thing about this chat replacement. I revert every language part, so if anyone has a commit access or can do it, but like that part is done, 100% done.
Right. So we'll look into it. The commit access thing.
Yeah,
The first thing would be
I trust you.
yeah, the first thing would be to make sure that they commit these changes first because commit access might take some time to articulate, and before that, your pull requests would be merged, hopefully. So let's see.
Well, it was working, so hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you done with your updates, Akash?
I'll be creating the cards after this meet. So what I'm doing right now
Okay.
is I'm just creating an action item under my name in HackMD so that
Okay.
there's one action
Yeah.
item for this meet to reach out to infra as a ticket for the
Okay.
commit access. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So if you will, I have a couple of things to give an update. So the revamp of Get Fedora landing page that's being handled by Pavel. So he is the program manager for that particular effort. So him and I will be collaborating on things, and so I will be like giving status reports to our team about what's going on over there, and to them about what's going on in our team. And I think when the design team has mockups ready for us, we will be able to dive into like getting all that up.
Is it
That
Pavel
being
Rice?
said, sorry, what?
Is it Pavel Rice, the one who takes care of pet system as well?
Maybe not. I'm not sure. I
Okay.
can let you know later. Yeah, I will drop his link in the chat group. So now that being said, so that's in waiting on external. We don't have anything to do about that right now. But before once we have the mockups ready, I think we will be working on that. Where is the card that I made? So I think, yes. So I think we should discuss about the front-end tools and frameworks that are going to be ideal for that project because that's the priority for now. So I'll just go first. I would vote for React.js for the front-end framework because I like that one for now. But I just want to get an idea from everyone else.
So React is fine because we do have certain projects and some people in infrastructure who also have knowledge about that. But yeah, React, Python, and I won't recommend trying a lot of new fancy things because you also want to look at sustainability and maintenance of it in future. But yeah, React is fine. React perfectly works.
Yeah, React is fine for me as well, and I had experience with it. Plus, it's very active and people using very widely. So, it, you can you can even get some extra contribution help from outside if people know they were using even React in the website, which would be really nice to think to have it as well. So that's good to me as well.
And also easy to get more uh, say mentored project kind of sites from
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
contributors from there because this
Yeah.
is kind of a fancy
Yes.
thing that a lot of university students and people are doing.
I mean, in technical
Yeah.
aspect, I also would like to add Stack Overflow on website. Like, if you want to even Google something, it's also easy to find a lot of
Yeah.
resources as well. So,
There is a lot of community support.
yeah,
There
that's
for React.
definitely
So
a huge plus one to able to see
yes.
because some of the UI or front end project doesn't have a lot of not have a lot of documentation. So React is definitely going to be the one to be have one. But can we also add another front end ideas into here, or are we just going to focus React only? Because it was just saying brainstorming on tools and framework ideal for this project.
So this is specific to, so React would be, I think would be like overall it can handle like any kind of project when it comes to front end.
Sure.
Um, so also I'm thinking that it will be great to have majorly one framework to be focused on. So it will be easy for new contributors to get all the information. Like right now, I think from what I understand, every website in here is like has a different style. So to kind of bring everything into one place, I think it will be great to have one framework to focus on. But if you have any idea which you think would be better than React, we can discuss that
I
later.
would,
That's why I said brainstorming.
I can chip in a bit over there. Am I
Please
audible?
go ahead, Syed.
Yeah.
Vipul has better
HTML.
idea. Definitely.
Ripple, that's the
Yeah,
best idea.
that's the best
Yeah.
idea.
Okay. So
Knew
coming to
it.
JavaScript frameworks, I don't know how many people over here are proficient with Vue, but
Me.
compared to React, I would highly suggest Vue because the Get Fedora landing page isn't really a very complex app, and I don't really think that we need
Uh,
React
I
for.
am definitely favor on that
That I
idea because
agree. Yes, that I agree to. I know Get Fedora landing page is like for now pretty doesn't have to be very interactive and it doesn't have to be dynamic as such. But that's from my understanding. But yes, I also agree on this with Whipple. View could be
Quoting
nice for,
you in the point of, yeah,
One
yeah,
go
question.
ahead,
I
Nikhil,
think
yeah.
View could be nice for just Get Fedora landing page for now because, but I think we should think about long term as well. So that's what I was telling before that how if we decide on a framework, it will be like widely used across Fedora. So it will be easy to have new contributors to focus on one thing and they'll get all the information. Like they can have focused interest on one framework and they don't have to learn like different things. So, oh, get Fedora is in Vue. Okay, that's different. But something else is in React and something else is in Angular. So to to make things simple, I thought it will be nice for us
Yes.
to
So
can
decide
we
on one
little bit of
framework.
historical context. Oh, sorry, Akashdeep had raised his hand. Do you want to go ahead, Akashdeep?
Yeah, Vipul, I would be. So,
Please.
when it comes to JavaScript frameworks, I would like to know how Get Fedora is deployed. Is it a package or is it being deployed as a standalone thing? Because in that
Okay.
cases, there can be nuances to be taken care of when it comes to Vue. So, Vue requires a certain amount of backend written in Node as well, as far as I have had experience with it. While React can be entirely disjoint, you can disconnect it and you can still have a Pythonic backend or anything else kind of a backend. But Vue kind of requires it to be a dependency. So it can create problems in terms of maintaining it, making changes to it every now and then. Although Get Fedora project is not something that would be changed now and then per se, but we need to document this and
Yeah.
documenting things when it's written in Vue, which is Vue is great, but the very fact that React is more well known, people are more bending towards React, and the fact that the likeliness of people knowing it would be less. So there would be a lot of buzz factor over there. So Vipul, go ahead.
So I have two against and one for point. Uh, Even though you are not going to update a lot of things, Get Fedora is going to be updated every 6 months at least. Something. Second, a lot of historical context, as in we have a lot of these different websites in different ways, as Ramya was saying, because people just came and they did what they were comfortable in, they did what they thought was best, and the consistency was not maintained. Thus, the result of everything being set up in different ways. Last point, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a web developer. You all know the best. So even though I say that Node is good because I see certain Fedora applications in Node, so it makes sense to me to say that look, be consistent. It will be easier in long term. But if you all think Vue is the answer, I am no one to seriously go ahead and say against it. I'm just providing some of the historical context and infrastructure point of view on what's easier for us. Because remember, if it is in Vue, then someone may also come and say Vue needs to be packaged in Fedora and or
Exactly my
dependencies,
point.
dependencies. So look, the work that might be around it, but on you all. That's all.
I okay. Can I go
Yeah,
next?
sure.
Okay. So I have a few arguments and counter arguments on all of the discussion that went on so far. Um, First of all, uh, Get Fedora is a landing page. Um, I can actually go ahead and also make the argument that we do not need Vue, we do not need React. We can simply go vanilla and create a very simple landing page. That might be a bit of work, but that would have the most number of contributors. If we are looking at the potential number of contributors, uh, you can't get more number of contributors than going plain vanilla, and it's not really difficult. Um, but when we are going for a framework, the problem is when we are talking about packaging Vue, uh, does it really matter? First, second thing is okay. I'm not aware of this, but is React really packaged in Fedora? I don't know this because it doesn't make sense. Like, why would a web framework be packaged into Fedora? Um, uh, the third thing is uh,
I can quickly
React.
answer. React is not in
Yeah,
Fedora repository. I just check it quickly with the DNF, so that is not there.
yeah. So the argument that Vue needs to be packaged does not make sense. Like, packaging any web framework does not make sense to me, very frankly. Uh, Third, as a professional web developer who has worked with React, Vue, Angular, and like dinosaur
What
frameworks as
not?
well, um, and this is very much of my personal opinion, I found Vue to be much more easier to use compared, but that might differ from people to people. The the problem with React is people who already know React might like React, but the learning curve for React is really steep, and that is something I think most people can agree with me.
Yeah, that
And
I agree. Yes.
with Vue,
I
not
can
so
do.
much.
I also would like to add, if that's okay, can I talk?
Yeah,
That
sure.
because Ashton also waiting to turn, I'm gonna give it to her. So, what I was thinking also, okay, I also work with Angular, Vue, React, and different kind of frameworks, also pure JavaScript. So I'm gonna go for the different path. I'm gonna say about okay, all of the framework is generally gonna be probably nice. Using Angular, React, Vue, or whatever fancy it is, we can all agree they all have cons and pros, and all of them is gonna be probably work in Fedora somehow because the page is pretty simple and plain. But if you want to make some fanciness and have some like more visually appealingness with some React ability or something else, like as in with the view or something, because of the views dynamic, we have some dynamic things we can do. React has well something similar, etc. Just talking generally. Uh, if you're gonna get advantage of that kind of power, I'm in favor of that thing because in other way, if you're just gonna use a plain website again and just gonna front end it, I will just probably go for pure normal JavaScript, CSS, HTML, and done with it because it's kind of pointless. So for that reason, we also explicitly need to know how much deep we want to go. We can just simply use React, that's fine, but what do we gain from it? Like, what do we got from it? Vue is simple and it's JavaScript. I can just do it and use it, which is that's why I also prefer it. React is also you have to install it, you have to compile it, you have to use Webpack on it. You're gonna have a lot of stuff to do. Dynamicness, I know how it's going to be. it's different things. So that's why I was a little bit also thinking, okay, maybe we can just use a micro framework, or in long term we can create our framework in JavaScript. We can utilize what we need, like in Fedora JS. Let's just say, I'm just talking. It's just an idea. Vanilla from our side maybe could be happen, because in that means we can uh, create something just because we gonna add what we needed and we can use it. I was also going to suggest Patternfly, what Reddit has as well. I was thinking about it, but that's another discussion. I just want to do. I don't want to go too deep. But my basic, my main goal, main idea is in this talk is how much we want to get advantage of this framework. If we not, it's kind of pointless to me for any of them. So thank you.
Hey, adding to your point of having our own framework, just to add a little bit of context to it, we do also have Fedora dash Bootstrap as well, which is based on Bootstrap 4.3.1, hasn't been updated
Yes, I
right
heard
now.
of it. Yes, yes. It just
Right.
suggesting you.
So Fedora JS makes sounds like a evolutionary step forward to what it sounds. So I think we can start with vanilla and then move on to our own stack. But it's going to be a long step because our own
Yeah,
stack
it's a
is,
long-term step. That's why I was
yeah.
saying that we can just use
Okay.
something if we really require
Sorry
and
to
move on.
interrupt. There are a few people who have raised their hands for quite a
Yeah,
while. Like I
and
see
I'm waiting
Cyan
for
and
Ashton.
then Ashlyn. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. This has been a debate that I've been thinking about the past few weeks as well, and I tend to lean towards Vue just because for smaller things like this landing page, we could do it in that. It's not going to take a lot of work. And then for more newer contributors, they would be able to easily do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript stuff on that, whereas it'll still be consistent for when we have more complicated sites set up that need to take more advantage of like the power of a framework like that. So it gives us like an ability to assign tasks to between new to advanced contributors, by continuing with the same framework that has that kind of stuff. Whereas with React and whatnot, you need to know JSX and it's a whole thing. I'm not super in favor of going vanilla because we're going to be limited and we're going to find other spots where we're going to want something more complicated, and then we're going to do that there, and it's just going to be I think that there'll be too much variation, and that would become problematic in the future as well.
Yeah. Did anyone raise their hand before I go?
Yeah. So I wanted to share a few things. So one of the main thing here is like the packaging thing, because I probably said this before as well. Packaging is one of the major concerns. I have done that and have failed for doing JavaScript packaging in Fedora, and I know there are not a lot of people who package in Fedora the JavaScript packages. So if you go down the packaging line,
I
it
did.
would be a nightmare. I had stuck with a Babel one, and that was the end of the road there. So packaging is one of the thing. The other thing is I'm not sure. Like we had a discussion back in 2015-16 about JS framework, which was spammed recently. But it's always like from my experience, I've always learned that that's why the question comes. I asked like the CP would be maintaining in the long term, given suppose everybody from this team vanishes one day, and it would
And
be like will it be the CP team who is managing, because then it's on them. So but what I understood this that website and apps team would be primarily looking into it. So in that case, like I'm thinking because it's a beginning, you can always decide, and you can always decide between React and Vue. But from the reason I pick Vue, because whatever Sayak told, I find it very beginner friendly. I've worked with React, I've worked with Vue, I've built proper web applications with Vue, and it's much more simpler. Like I started using React probably 2014 back then itself. So there's a complexity involved, and the other part is again the complexity of the website. I'm not uh, like, even if you say the most complicated website in the Fedora ecosystem, how complicated will it be? Will we really need React, or will we can we do with Vue.js? I think these are the questions. If we can answer it would be good to decide upon, like we can always think of a top notch scenario where we will have the complicated website, but do we really go, like do we really need that kind of a thing? So from that point of view, even if we think like future in down the line we will have a bunch more of them or more of the website. So these are the things I wanted to like put towards the group and discuss.
Yeah, thank you, Sayan. Yeah, so I think with all the discussion for now, pertaining to this website alone, Get Fedora FPO, I think it will be great to start with Vue. I did hear a lot of like folks saying, especially like Sayak and then Ashlyn and Sayan. So I think it's great to start with Vue for this because it's a lot simpler, and then we don't need quite complicated things that I don't want to compare Vue and React for now, but I think for now,
You shouldn't.
Ramya,
for
so
now,
I was wondering if Get Fedora, the website itself, would it favor, would it be helped with the use of front-end frameworks because it is quite an easy website? Does it really need front-end frameworks to start with? Okay, Ramya was fine.
So I do like Vim more than YML versus YAML. Who's next?
Okay.
okay, we are back. So you were saying something, Akash?
Yes, I was. So I was wondering how much of a benefit would Get Fedora website have with the use of front-end frameworks? I mean, it is not quite a difficult website to start with, doesn't have a lot of moving parts. Uh,
So definitely, I think it will be great to use some kind of framework for sure. We can
mhm.
always go with the just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript alone, but if we it so if we have to make it more dynamic or interactive, if we use a framework, we can always change it. But if everything is done in the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, it could be a little difficult to like go back and change everything. So
That's
in
understandable,
that
yeah.
way, I would vote definitely for using a framework. At this point, I think Vue sounds really apt for this website alone. Ashlyn wants to speak something. I don't know if someone else raised their hand before Ashlyn, but
Yeah, just to kind of follow up with your point, I like the current version of the Get Fedora page is very flat. There's not a whole lot going on. There's a lot more that it could be taken advantage of in the future, and if designed with a framework, it'd be a lot easier to take advantage of those things, particularly using something like Vue where you have template styles and script all in one spot. It's just going to make like making quick edits and quick changes, adding content and stuff like that. That could all be a much easier thing to do if we go that route.
yes,
Same
definitely
with
agree.
React, right? Like we could
Yeah,
make it pop a whole lot more, and that would be fantastic for gaining new users.
yes, definitely. Yeah, framework is like it makes changes a lot easier down the lane. So yeah, we should definitely use some framework for sure. And I think at this point, Vue has more words for now.
Because
So
using a framework is right, but we kind of have to, if we are maintaining the same design language, would have to make use of possibly the same framework for other websites as well. So kind of resonates
yes,
with that.
so I do take that back. So after listening to everyone's opinions and perspectives, I think as long as we stick to one language, frameworks can change as per the website's needs. So framework, if landing page is not way too complicated, I think it's okay. And also because Vue is having very low learning curve, I think that is okay, I guess. And for more complicated websites like Mode, I would vote for React for Mode, I think, for now. But I would like to hear everyone's opinion on that. So if a page needs more interaction or something, framework can probably change for
I just
that
wanted to
particular one.
Can I So can I just put one thing, if you don't mind? Before designing what tool to use, can we at least come up with some kind of design on what sort of website we are looking at? Because we may not need JavaScript at all. This does not have
Yeah,
to
this
get
is
complicated. Like maybe first look at the how design would look like on what are the things we are planning to get into the website, and then think about the technology using, because that will simplify some of the things.
yeah. For now, the discussion is only to get Fedora landing page. I
Yeah.
I think every page has different needs as to what framework to use only to front end perspective. I'm not talking about backend for now. And I think for Get Fedora, it's mostly going to be front end like user interactive and all that. So for now, it's only going to be pertaining to Get Fedora. But I
But
think when we talk about other projects, it could change based on what that website needs, how much of a
So
sophisticated framework it needs. I think, from my opinion, what does
sure.
Sayak and others think about this? Ashwin, Sayak.
Uh, can I just say one quick thing? Also, I would like to also say point that for visual aspect of the page, I'm kind of agree with people because if every web developer today knows probably is today's CSS has a lot of power. Like you don't even need to use CSS for some extreme 3D stuff as well. Like this is not a joke. Like I saw many nice even artists just creating for fun's sake to use CSS only pages, and the effect, the result, everything is so cool and so nice. We may even not even touch it if it is only visually appealing aspect needs to be changed. So yes, I know that website. I am also using that. So that's kind of my point because CSS is also a lot of potential as well. I don't want to throw back at it. So not just GS only solution, maybe not required. Maybe only CSS solution will be also fine as well. Just saying. Thank you.
Yeah. So one thing to note here, which is basically like, let's not choose multiple frameworks. It's better to stick to one. The reason is it becomes very difficult in the long run. Like if you see right now, a lot of the Fedora apps are on Flask, and that definitely helps because it helps for people to quickly there. You can basically have a kind of a boilerplate for all your stuff. You can be it front end, be it back end. Badges is on pyramid, and it has become a kind of a nightmare to maintain the pyramid structure. So these are the things which affects in the long run. And I would say like it's always better to stick to one, however painful it is, but it is always fruitful when you compare to maintaining two very different frameworks. So I would always say just stick to one particular framework. And talking of CSS, yeah, so maybe I'm always for how, like, lesser the JavaScript the better. So if we can see that Get Fedora can be made in just CSS, then we can surely go for it, like just using, and then maybe reiterate on this discussion maybe at a later time when we actually like see that we need to have this discussion.
I think John raised his hand before Ashlyn.
Just a quick question: Is Git Fedora? Does anyone know if it's actually a static website or if it serves dynamic content?
It's frozen Flask. So static page as far as I know. Which basically in other pages we just generate page because I was working on converting, so I pretty much have a knowledge on that now. You just create a page, it just generates static files for each language and done, and they just push it. So no fanciness. You don't even need to use some fancy VCGI or you don't need to do course or something like that. It's just plain HTML.
So are frameworks even necessary for that? Like, I mean, I'm not that sure.
Well, it's
For
not
So I
developed
development
into
think,
six
use
months.
case,
We'll never know
uh,
unless we have a design for it.
yeah.
yeah. Okay, Ashlyn, do you want to
Yeah,
add?
Yeah, so just really quickly on our frameworks necessary for this. Like, I mean, it's a pretty ugly site. Like, I don't want to diss anybody, but like, it really needs some love, and like there's things that are offset, and I like you can just do that statically. But this is where, like, again with Vue, you really don't need to put any JavaScript in it, right? Like
Yeah.
you can
Yes.
literally write the whole thing in HTML and CSS that way. So that way, like, the
Yes.
content is still like you would deal with it in a static form, but then
Yeah.
if we do need to expand it, we have the ability to do so.
So the way I see framework is, yes, you can always write a website in a static website in just using HTML and CSS, but I think frameworks make it a lot easier to manage things. You
Ramya,
can
by the way,
use,
are we just focusing the front end framework, right? We are not touching the
yes,
back end. So
no,
that's
we are
why,
not.
yeah,
For now,
that's
it's
the
only
point.
front end.
Mhm.
So frameworks, so front end frameworks, I think like Vue and React make it really easy to handle components, styling for the components specifically to that. And there are a lot other fancy, really nice frameworks for CSS as well, which make styling also really easy. So I, I would always vote for some kind of framework to make our lives easier, to design things in to make the website much easier and so that it will be easy to handle it and update it and maintain it down the lane, because for Vue or React there are components for everything. So if someone has like basic understanding about how React or Vue works, they can go to that particular component, make the changes, it's done. Like someone said earlier, if none of us are in this team after a few years, someone else is working on that, they'll have an idea about how to handle it. If it's like just HTML and CSS, I think it's a lot of things in just one page. But I think using framework makes it easy to handle stuff, maintain stuff. I think. Yeah. Ashley. You're on mute, I
You're
think.
muted.
Sorry,
I can't
I
hear.
think Akash
Okay.
put up his hand before me.
Yeah. So yeah, frameworks are a necessity when it comes to doing a lot of stuff, doing with a lot of websites. But doing things with a lot of frameworks kind of raises questions as well. That you're using Vue for a certain website, React for the other one, and it kind of makes things complex for someone who is just trying to get in. We do have Flask as a backend on multiple websites, as remarked by Cyan, I guess, for a certain reason. That it kind of makes easy for someone who has contributed to a certain website to move on to another web application, which makes use of Flask as well. So if you're picking a framework, we would want to stick with one. That's something I suggest. Go ahead, Ashley.
Um, yeah, I agree with the sticking with one framework. A thing, like a side thing that I wanted to bring up too is like there's a lot of space for Python development here, especially on the back end. Like there's a lot of that going on. There is not a whole lot for JavaScript. It seems like that's like, correct me if I'm wrong, there really isn't a space for JavaScript developers really here. So a part of, I think, this would be creating that kind of environment, and being that it's such a popular language, like yeah, like front end JavaScript. Sorry, I just read a comment. And anyway, so yeah, like that would be really, really good for future contributors, and creating a space for them to be able to do things. And if it's Python and Jenga, like we can do that, but that's like alienating a whole bunch of really amazing like front end development that is done primarily with JavaScript. So I think that's something to keep in mind with all of this. And I just wanted to like make a comment too, that to be cognizant at the time, we got 10 minutes left, and I just wanted to check if we had any other things to talk about. I know that there was one, there was a couple points in the HackMD, so maybe we should switch topics and then come back to this.
The way I see it, we should create a discussion topic on Discourse under our namespace on this. Maybe give it a week, maybe a couple of weeks, because a 1 hour meet is not enough for such kind of a discussion. There's a
I
lot of
agree.
things going into it. Yeah.
Akashi, by the way, should we also just want to point out? Should we also limit to framework we would like to focus on? Because if we just make it open, everyone gonna just say a lot of different framework we don't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
work
I
with.
know.
So I think we're gonna have to agree with that. We're gonna have to put some, let's just say, Vue, React, Angular, and like let's just say this
Give
three.
them
Which one
options
you?
and let them
Yeah,
decide
we
on
have
it.
to
Yeah.
specify the options. Because if you just give it a go, it will be just gonna be a Hail Mary and a hell of a problem. So we don't
Plus one
want
to that. So
No,
this
no.
can be one of the action items, listing of the options over at discourse, and let people decide on what
Yeah,
they
we
would
can
want to
internally
switch,
decide it,
which
then we can put
regions.
it over there.
Yeah,
Right,
and
right.
meanwhile, design can be worked on by the time someone decides what framework. And again, as I have written in the comment, like this team is just starting, and we have the potential to define what's standard for Fedora project. Because earlier it's not been one; it's been all over the place. So whatever works for website and apps team, contributors will follow in that reason. So before jumping into which framework, work on the design, and depending on the requirement of it, you can look into the framework. And yeah, let the discussion go on discourse for that.
So who would want to take this action item of creating this topic? Any volunteers?
Whoever gave the idea.
Come on, I have a couple of action items already. Okay, cool, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I
whoever
can do
gave.
it.
So things
Thanks,
wouldn't
sir.
be lost in translation.
I'm gonna help Akash on that. Okay, let me take some burden.
Okay, cool. So who is it going to be? Honorable or Ashland?
On discuss.
Yeah, who is going to create this
Ashley,
topic?
yeah,
Okay,
I
cool,
think
Ashland.
Ashley.
Yeah.
Okay.
On
Honorable
Discord?
has done a lot of things in the course of last week. Let's not even get started with all the porting that he has done. So Ashland it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashlyn, when you create the thread, could you please drop the link in the Tiger Card 48 so everything is in one place?
Totally.
Thank you.
By the way, just a
Awesome.
tiny helpful reminder for Ashton about JavaScript and TypeScript development aspect of the Fedora. I just want to quickly say, Fedora is fine with Node.js and stuff. We only package if we really necessary into the npm, which is the Node.js and TypeScript space in the DNF repository. The reason we don't package them all is if you just try to just make one package, you will see a lot of automatization, and it's a little bit of a hell, because imagine that you create a project, you're gonna probably have a 500 different dependencies on that package JSON file. Like I'm talking about sub dependencies as well, total number. So that's why we always encourage the people to please create your own local npm init project and just go on with it, because because we don't want to limit the people with our repository. We just want to that's why we just include npm and Node.js, and people just can move along with it. And a lot of my friend in Fedora aspect is using this way because easier.
Oh, so like getting npm like from
It's
the
in the
ROM
DNF. It's in
repository.
the DNF. It's in all the DNF. That's
Yeah,
easy.
it's really outdated on DNF though. I
No,
had to get rid.
they are using Fedora is using LTS version of the npm and Node.js. We are not using the stable latest. So the focus is different. But if you want to create a latest all the time, like just want to push it, sure. But Fedora has a different aspect on it. I think you should ask for the Node.js people mailing list if you want to get more about it. Just let you know.
Yeah, I'll definitely check into that. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Do we have anything else to discuss about? If not, then who wants to chair the next meeting?
I can.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah. So Ashlyn, just so you know, I think we transferred everything from HackMD to Taiga. So if there is some discussion that you want to talk about, or anyone, so we are we'll mostly be sticking to Taiga. So if you have any discussion items, please put them in Taiga. If you have any ideas, put them in the backlog. We can later assign to which epic it belongs to. So yeah, we'll mostly be using Taiga from now on.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. This was a great meeting, great discussion, a lot of inputs. We'll touch back on how things work out next week. Akash, go ahead.
Yeah, can you just take a moment to appreciate that Ramya has been the project manager for this team and has been representing us in the project management group. So kudos for that.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it's great. I am really enjoying this. So
Awesome.
awesome. So once we get the discussion thread running, we'll see if we have any update next week for the next week meeting. If not, we can maybe wait another week. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And thank you, everyone. I think we'll have 2 different meeting videos in the YouTube today because something happened and yeah, my call dropped off. So
Ramya, I can, if you send me the videos, I can process it and merge it for you if you like me to.
awesome. Okay, I will do that. That's
Thank you.
great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, then that's it for today. It was a great meeting. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah, so I added